Alright, hey everyone, my name is Sammy, and welcome to my Stream Theory playthrough of a game called Project Maiden, where I will play the game live, while also providing analysis and commentary as I go. Alright, so, first things first, probably don't know what this game is, only because, you know, it's an indie game, but it is a game I've been meaning to play for a little while. It's actually made, full disclosure, it's made by a friend of mine, a Twitter friend of mine. His name is Kevin Cole, and yeah, he ran a Kickstarter for this game a few years back, and eventually released it. I think it was October of last year, 2015, and yeah, I've been meaning to play that ever since, but I've always been busy with other games. And I think now, now that I'm looking for a new game to stream, I figured it was right about time for me to get into his game eventually. So, even though I know the developer, met him once in real life, and been following on Twitter, we interact on Twitter, I'm still going to be as fair as possible on the game, and I hope that he stays friendly to me and appreciates me being fair. So, maybe I don't like it. Actually, I have very little knowledge of this game beforehand, so it's kind of taking a leap of faith here, a bit of a risk. But 'cause I really don't know what is going to happen. I did not take part in the Kickstarter, but I have been wanting to play it. I literally just downloaded this before I started streaming, and I gave my friend Kevin a little tip for his trouble. Even though technically speaking, this is a free-to-play game. It's pay what you want. So without any more setup, I think just let the game say, or let the game speak for itself. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's start a game completely fresh and see what this is all about. And I know a little bit about. There's a lot I don't know about this game. I know just a tad. Developer describes this game as a sort of a Zelda in reverse, where you start out with all your powers, and as you go through the game, you will lose your powers, which is reverse of what games usually do, where you start with nothing, base amount of weapons, items, powers, and then you ramp up. And that kind of relates to a lot of discussions I was having with Half-Life 2, the episodes I was playing before this, the weapon ramp up discussions that I had. But yeah, we can get into that a little bit later. Let's let the game begin. I like how here there's no prompt, no text on the screen saying, hey, you should press X or whatever to get up. It lets you figure it out on your own, and gives you the impetus to pick yourself up. So I am using controller. I eventually figured out I should do something, and eventually my character here picked herself up. So now I don't know what to do. See what happens here. Okay. Not too difficult to figure out. I mean, we're just starting, so I figure anything we do is probably correct. I'm hoping we're not in like some sort of a troll game or anything, but I don't think so. This is much more of a straight up experience. I don't think it's meant to troll me or anything like that, and ready to fall off this ledge and then die immediately, but no. Okay, keep on going. So fairly minimalist start, I think. No foreknowledge or explanation. Not a lot of setup. It's starting off very simply. I think right now what the game is trying to do is just get us familiar with our surroundings and how we move our character around. Now I know my character's name is Imogen, and she right now has well, even self-evident from what I'm doing, that she has some sort of power. This rock ability that's pushing her up like that. But, yeah, right now I guess I'm just trying to figure out what everything is all about and get to the meat of the game. Okay. So I can like grab onto ledges and mantle over. Probably how I need to get through here. All right, so it looks like there are some signs on the environment. Give us some indication of what to do. I can drop down. Interesting. So as I'm describing basically everything here, you can tell that I really don't have all that much knowledge about the game. Like I'm literally figuring things out as I go. I think that's probably as intended. Let's see if I can. Probably this is something I need to figure out. I'm not sure what I'm doing right now, though. Right now I'm just pressing things at random to see what happens. Seems like one of my powers there, one of Imogen's powers, but not quite sure what I'm doing or how I'm supposed to move forward. Anyway, I think I am supposed to figure it out. And I probably will. I hopefully will. First test of my knowledge here. So it looks like I can use that stone power only on, well, places where there are stone, like that wall there. This beam, I guess, is not made of stone, it's made of metal, so that power does not work. So let's see. Right now I actually don't have much idea what to do. Coming in, you know, without any setup or foreknowledge, I'm figuring there might be something I'm missing. Maybe I have to go back. Can't go back. Okay. So whatever it is, my way of getting through here, figuring that there is a the solution is here. So wonder. Okay, so first, okay, so this seems like I have a pretty big jump here, and maybe that is what I need to do. Get through here. It's just a matter of figuring this out. I wonder if this is meant to be like this sort of trial and error thing, kind of experimentation with my powers here. Okay, so right now I actually can't figure it out. I'm wondering if I'm just missing something like pretty obvious here. So, you know, it's just a matter of working through here. I mean, this is, I think, right now, this is just part of the experience, and just getting used to what I am doing. But I wonder if, like, some part of this is like, I wonder if if the problem is with me, or if the game is like this part of it is supposed to be happening. I'm missing just something fairly obvious. Okay, so trying out a few things. trying out the other, the other commands on this controller, and like there is some sort of zoom here. There is, I'm not sure what this is yet. Probably something relevant later on. So right now, this one part here is stumping me a little bit. Maybe I need to actually contact the developer on Twitter and say, hey, your first big jumping puzzle is totally stumping me, and I'm trying to stream it, and I just want to move on. Maybe if I was playing this on my own, I would be able to a little bit more patient with it, but because I am streaming and I'm trying to get a recorded playthrough of the game at the same time, maybe there's a little bit more haste to my actions here. Maybe I'll figure it out is not for the best. But that's just the this is what happens when you go into a game blind and not knowing what to do here. So it looks like this is like more of a fighting stance, and I think that's why I can't climb onto ledges, or grab the edges of those ledges here. Not really sure what that is. Okay, so yeah, I wonder if I'm just missing something pretty obvious. I mean, I can't go back. Ruled that out. And I can only make these walls, or make the stone jump when there is stone. And as far as I can tell, the other actions I have... Okay. So this looks like it is... Let me see. I'm not sure what this is. I can grab the wall, but can I grab, like, my, I wonder if I can grab this, like... Yeah, I can grab the wall like that, right? This seems like a grab action, but can I grab my little stone thing and move it over? Interesting. Let's see if there are any hints in the controls. See if there's any No, I don't want to do this. Set custom controls. No, I don't want to set custom controls. I want to, yeah, I wish there was a way through this. File, there we go. Okay, so I haven't... I guess there must be some sort of save point, but I'm not too far in the game. Still trying to figure this out. So I've gotten that down. Back to this same place here. I wonder if I feel like this grab here might just be a way to move this over. Who knew this would be like the most difficult puzzle? But really, it's just about learning what I can and can't do, and then once I know what the limits of my character, then I'll be able to work within those limits, and something like this won't be such a big hurdle for me. Right now, it's like I really don't know what I can do, and maybe it's just like some people, like me for instance, are gonna miss perhaps the most what would seem like an obvious thing. I'm getting hung up on, you know, some sort of movement challenge, like trying to grab this ledge here, and I'm not seeing what might be super obvious. You know, once I figure it out, be like, oh, okay, that's what I should have done. As far as I can tell, I can't seem to. Almost thought that this would be the solution here. The fact that I can like sort of grab this wall and try to grab this, and move it over, but I can't do that. I haven't quite figured this out. This seems like a change of stance. This seems like a projectile power. Jump, and this is like a grab, and I'm not sure how that interacts with everything. And there aren't too many parts of this that yeah, so only a few minutes into the game, and I'm already getting kind of stumped here. And I might actually need some help to just understand how this game works, because I feel like I am missing something that should be obvious and probably really is obvious to Kevin, the developer who made this, and because of the minimalist beginning here, where it's just not being blatant. Alright, which I do appreciate that. I kind of just accidentally figured it out right now. I've actually... Okay, I figured this out, but I will say that the problem is that I actually won't know how to reproduce that. I just kind of accidentally fell into that, into the solution here. But at least, you know, for the purposes of the stream, we can move on and get past the first jump that stumped me. Again, if that ever presents itself again, I'm not sure if I'll be able to reproduce it. But you know, just sometimes half the battle is knowing what's possible. And if I see a similar jump like that later on, I'll figure that I know something like that is possible, and I'll be able to eventually, you know, figure it out a second time. But yeah, we're seeing there that the minimalist opening can be a really powerful thing from an experiential perspective and like a storytelling perspective. You know, preserving that your immersion and focus on the screen and just appreciating what we're seeing. You know, not ruining that with a very blatant sort of tutorial telling you exactly what you should do. And we had a little bit of that with the arrows, and I think that was meant to be a sort of hint. But I don't think the game wanted to punch me in the face with like a sentence, a very clear sentence, words on the screen that would just communicate directly with what I should do there. And you know, that means I'll have to, you know, be patient and figure it out myself, even if like it's not very conducive to a stream. Me, you know, I'm sure me bashing my head against that one puzzle and figuring out the controls is not entertaining for the viewer. But from the perspective of the game and my own personal interaction with the game, I think it ends up working out because well, just because of the satisfaction of figuring out yourself and not needing to figure that would be the solution there, but not needing to be told exactly what to happen. And then, you know, looking up a solution is usually, you know, it doesn't feel nearly as satisfying. It's like, okay, yeah, you can just totally make that jump. Just have to keep on trying until you make the jump. You know, that wouldn't be as satisfying as me figuring out that for myself, even though it's like seemingly a very simple jump, right? Not necessarily a super complex puzzle. Well, half the fun is figuring out for yourself. And right now, I'm just getting a feel for the character, and you know, learning the limits of the character, what she can and can't do, and you know, just getting the answer right away. It's not necessarily conducive to a satisfying experience. Alright, so interesting. I need to alright, there we go. I learned earlier on, I was just messing around with the controls, that I could like sort of angle up the the shot where it can go. Seems like I was able to get it just the right angle to get through here. So once I basically after that first initial jump, that leap of faith they have to take, everything else seems to just be much simpler. Again, it only seems bad, I think, when trying to communicate it through a stream, and you know, watching me trying to figure out a simple jump isn't necessarily you know, super entertaining stuff. But you know, as far as my personal experience with it, I think it's totally acceptable. You know, for the game to want you to for you to take your time with the game, and sometimes you have to bash your head against something early on just to get a feel for things. And I think the trade-off with the game not overtly telling me what to do is worth a little bit of head bashing sometimes. I don't know, maybe I don't know, maybe it was not intended at all, and maybe that whole thing should have been simple. Like maybe it wasn't meant to be that challenging, but in the end, I think overcoming the stone jump challenge in the beginning ended up making me learn a lot about how the game controls. Okay, so I need to figure out how this works. I don't know what just happened there. Interesting. Okay, so is that like some sort of a drop kick type of thing? I guess so. Now these look like dangerous spikes, and I wonder why I'm not getting hurt by that. Maybe because I'm in that stance that I'm in right now. Makes me invulnerable, or it could just be a general part of her powers in the beginning as to why she can't be hurt by these things. I mean, if I've learned anything about video game, you know, communication, is that, you know, usually silver spikes like this that are shining are pretty dangerous. Going back to, like, say, pitfalls in Prince of Persia, the original Prince of Persia, spikes like that are usually not a safe thing, and I think, you know, this game is relying on you knowing a little bit of that foreknowledge, at least that foreknowledge would give you a big advantage to knowing what to do, or what those spikes would mean in a video game. That usually they mean certain death, and I think a little bit of knowledge that Imogen here has certain powers early on, or has all of her powers early on, means that, hey, maybe the only reason I'm surviving those spikes right now is because she has some sort of power. Alright, so these puzzles are, you can kind of see them ramping up once I'm, you know, figuring out what power does what, and what each power interacts with in the environment. I can kind of figure how these things work. Or maybe, yeah, just jump. Yeah, there we go. Just jump. There we go. So I am, right now I'm definitely getting the hang of it. It looked a little bit dire, and I was kind of getting nervous figuring out that one jumping puzzle early on, but I'm glad I overcame the challenge, and from there I can get through the game. I'm not stuck in the first few seconds of the game, stuck on that one puzzle forever. I would have been kind of embarrassed if I would have had to like contact Kevin just to figure out that puzzle. It's like, no, just keep on trying. Just keep stone jumping, and eventually you'll make it. There we go. So, try to angle this up a little bit. So, there we go. So now I think I'm familiar enough with my powers. I think that's the whole purpose of this first introductory area. Seeing no story, we've seen no story or explicit story so far. But we know that we have these powers. We're starting with these powers, and we are using them to the fullest extent. Or Imogen here is able to do that herself. And as the player, at the same time, we're just getting a feel for what she can and can't do, and how she interacts with the environment around her. And that's kind of what this whole level setup is meant to do. And I think, in general, it does it very well. It's just from a player's perspective, where you're able to take your time with everything, then everything is fine. Like, I think it works out very well. From a streamer's perspective, it's a little bit embarrassing to bash your head against that simple jumping puzzle early on. But I got through it. We all got through it. Okay, here we go. Looks like this is going to be a major story beat. Now, normally I'd be reading this stuff, but it's going so fast that I don't think I'd be able to say this stuff. So I'm just reading it myself, and you can hopefully follow along. Maybe I should actually slow down this text. I'm pretty sure there's an option for that. Text speed. Yeah, maybe you want to slow this down a tad. Let's try what 4 does. Just for the purposes of the stream, you can keep along, be able to read this. Ginny wants his truce. I want my brother. I assume you want to live. I believe all our goals are one. I wonder how many, if you are willing to pay with your certainty, you may earn yourself. Okay, so I think that's all this guy has to say. But interesting in that the whole time we have control of our character, and we can. I'm assuming I didn't test the limits of this, but I'm assuming we can just move to the door here and continue on right away. But first time playing through this, I wanted to make sure I take all of the dialogue in and read it. So we got our first major story moment. We get a little bit more information about this, and that something has been done to Imogen here, and saying that can be undone. Alright, good luck, my dear niece. Okay, interesting. Sorry, please don't murder me. Chapter 1, New Miserable Experience. Okay, so we got through what I can assume is a sort of prologue to the experience, and I'm glad I made it through. Alright, so right now, looks like I am with nothing. Let's see. There seems to be something scrawled on the wall there. I'm not entirely sure. a lot of details in the environment. I'm sure they mean something if I look closely. Maybe there's something to discover later on in a future playthrough. Okay, so right now I do have access to my powers here. Just trying to figure out, what to do and what I can and can't do, what it all means. So how about, does that video game speak for? Ah, okay, I see. That's what I'm able to move or push. Interesting. So I can, this button here, the X button, is removing those blocks. Okay. So I wonder, just getting through, was that someone? Alright, so things are happening. I think it's first taste of combat. Things are happening as far as I understand, and I'm able to right now have the powers that I've used before are just for simple platforming purposes. In combat, seem to have a lot of power. Especially the long range attack, turns them into stone, obliterates them, and my fighter stance here also hurts them pretty badly. So, I wonder what is this thing? I'm not entirely sure. Kind of dark up there. Seems to be. I'm not entirely sure what that's supposed to be, but I wonder if I could have done like a sweet drop kick maneuver. I'm not entirely sure what that is. Okay. Okay. Sorry for stabbing you. Sorry for waking you up. Don't rip my spine out like you did that one guy. Okay, so tell our character here is clearly a formidable foe, and with all the powers it doesn't seem like she's very nice, and people seem to be pretty scared of her. So now we've got puzzle going on here. Oh gods. Just get through here. Let's see, it looks like, was that a sink? Not sure. Does any have anything else to say? I like how he's kind of shielding his eyes there. Keep moving on. Hey, thanks for not killing me back there. Okay. Because, my ears. And the purple thing. My name is Theo. Alright, so seems like a companion. We're not went from being afraid of us to, well, I guess. And well, we are in a prison of some sort, so I guess we are his only way out. So I guess even though he might be afraid of us, he's got to stick by us in order to get through here. I'm not really a fighter. Okay. Always worried if I stay right where you are. kind of want to get... Oh, I see. Now I know what that is. I disarmed him. Disarmed the previous soldier, and that was the sword that flew up. I get it now, okay. And I guess it was just stuck in the ceiling, I suppose, and that's why I couldn't get it, but I know. See, I have it now. How do I use it? Not sure. Okay. My sword stance right there, okay. Now I know how to activate that. Alright. Slowly but surely, making my way through, figuring things out. Should be able to get through here now. Okay, Theo is still following us. Good morning, Imogen. Oh great, a sage. Is he talking to you? The genie has released your first power. Through Typhon's spear, so ends your torpor. Fairly sure we don't have to listen to this guy. The war will rage for as long as Typhon sleeps. While you hold the storm god's mantle, your life is not your own. The gods are gone, their children remain. Seek us out when you require rest. Yeah, well, think about it. Okay. Come on, Imogen. Save? Yes? No? Sure. Only weirdos talk about the dead like that. Oh, okay, so... Save. Is that... I guess we just saved the game. I thought it was talking about saving him. Like, setting him free or something. But... I guess that's how we saved the game, and... Well, I'm glad I didn't, die up until that point, or... have the game shut down on me or crash or whatever. Not that it would, but maybe a power outage could have happened and would end up restarting the game from the beginning because I did not save. So I guess that's how the save system works. We talked to this sage guy. So I'm not really the best at heights. Okay. Alright, so right now I like a lot about how the story is being presented. It's not, again, following along with a lot of the minimalist way in which the game started up. Slowly, it's not, there isn't any long-winded explanation, and even in the parts where there are technically a lot of dialogue, where we can, we're in total control and we can skip it all if we so desire and just get right into the action. As far as the story, and if you wanna take in all the story, you totally can. And I know I personally like experiencing that stuff, so of course I will. Alright, so I wonder if this is like another one of those... There we go, okay. Grab the ledge. Alright, so... a lot of the dialogue here, especially with the sage there, it's showing hints of a much greater world. Like, it feels like there is a world existing outside of the immediate vicinity of what we're experiencing right now. There we go. is a ledge, and usually I like that. It's not relying on a huge setup of information, a huge exposition of the world in order to get through. No, don't help me. I got this. I don't even know how I would help him if I could help him. I'm sure he can figure this out. Can't go this way, right? Yeah, it's just... Okay. Slowly but surely making my way through. So it seems a big part of the game is, you know, not just combat or the interactive experience, but there's a fair bit of platforming too, and that's part of the general way you interact. Nice little animation here. Like, I wonder if you would you know, continue on. If we would continue on and figure out all the puzzles and leave Theo, you know, dragging behind you, you would miss moments like this. So, glad I can accidentally fall back down and then see little moments like that where he's tired and whatnot. But I can get through here. So far, hasn't been too much to be concerned about. There, you know, little difficulties getting a feel for the character and what you can do, and how I can jump through certain tight parts of the, you know, platforming. Besides that, in general, I do like the way it's telling its story. Very subtle for the most part, and when there is a fair bit of dialogue, you can totally skip it. You don't have to experience all that. So I'm gonna see what this this sword fighting experience is all about. Okay, so alright, so it looks like I already... okay. So I'm starting to figure out how combat works and how the danger works. The icon above my head, I guess, warns you that you can only take one more hit. Okay, so you can take 2 hits and then you're down. Alright, so I'll get the hang of this for sure. So in close quarters, kind of difficult. There we go. Now what happens if your sword is like stuck on the ceiling like that? Kind of have to do this jumping grab at the same time, but it is possible, I suppose. Okay, so I think what I'm figuring out is that I have to, when the symbol is above his head, that's when I have to make my attack. Just like when the symbol is above my head, when they make an attack against me, that's when I'm downed. Same idea with the enemies. So I hit them once, and they also have one more hit before I knock them down. Or I can just throw a fireball at him and all is done. I guess for now there's like no reason not to do a fireball. Unless I don't want to like just destroy people outright. I don't know. Maybe there's a story reason for why I don't necessarily want to destroy people. But for now, seems like we'll figure that out as we go. Okay, so taken down there, that's fine. Still, you know, I'm still figuring this out, and I won't be so formidable. Okay. You know, I like that the game isn't just totally pushover. Even with all of Imogen's powers in the beginning, you can still be taken down. You know, there's genuine there is genuine danger. It keeps the combat challenging, and especially when faced with two people at the same time. And I think that okay, so they can actually block me too. Interesting. Oh, I see. Interesting. I think this one in particular, because of the nature of the level, first major test of combat, trying to figure it all out. You know, the first battles there, because I could take on the enemies one-on-one. Because I can take enemies on one-on-one, they are much less of a challenge because these guys have swords right up front, and take them on take them on at the same time. There's the real challenge. So right now it's all about figuring out how that's figuring out how best I can take them down. Very difficult. Like once they hit me one time, I basically have no access to my powers. To wait for that cooldown. Okay. Wow, they're really tough to figure this out. But I think I can get it. Okay, so right now I think sword is a little bit tougher to figure out, and my own powers are actually give me a pretty big advantage. Because they allow me to take an extra hit, I think. Okay. Ooh, okay. Yeah, these guys are definitely tough, because I think they have a lot of extra weapons, too. Ooh, okay. They're quick to punish me for. Alright, so right now I think my or Imogen's power with you know, that stance, the rock. I'm not sure what it's called, but gives her a strict advantage over these guys, and I think that's ultimately why I could take them down. But the fact that the, you know, two guys with two weapons each, disarming one, they pull out their second weapon. These guys are pretty tough to take down, for sure. So don't know how this, not sure what that is that I picked up or how I can use it. In any case, pretty tough combat challenge. I think I made my way through it. Just, eventually, and that kind of right here, I feel a little bit concerned for later on, because I feel this is still pretty early on, where episode or, you know, chapter 1 of the game, and already seeing a pretty tough combat challenge. And with that said, we have, knowing what the game is and losing powers, you know, I have all access to all powers right now, and I have to imagine that later on with tougher combat and fewer powers, like how I will be able to overcome that stuff, kind of makes me concerned a little bit for my own skill, whether I'm able to take them down. But you know, the thing about this game is, like, I think oh, something. This is a big story. It's like a story moment is happening here. I'm not sure. How are the ears? Round enough? Too round? So anyway, what I was saying was that there's an inverse of in the beginning, you know, Imogen has all of her powers, or I have access to these powers, and I'm going to assume that, you know, as we go on, I will lose access to those powers. But at the same time, my knowledge of how to play the game is going to increase, and there's kind of there's an irony in that, and I'm sure the game is definitely, that is an inherent part of the game, that irony, that as my knowledge of how the powers will increase, and I will know how to use them to an expert extent, I will end up losing them anyway, and I'll have to, you know, creatively figure out how to do things. I think that's... Whoa, okay. So it looks like that is a face the wrath of the scions of Typhon, for I roar the unshakable, will never let you escape. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay, so this seems like, okay, I see what's going on here. It's... So, I can tell from the top there, it's like there's like a tug-of-war going on, where I have to... get the, get his health meter to the edge there. It's not gonna let me do it that easily, though. Ooh, okay. I can't let him touch me at all. It touches me in the slightest. But, Tug-of-war thing ends up going against me, so I kind of have to... Yep, can't let him touch me at all, seems. Oh. Tough to actually... The way this area is designed, it's tough to get around him, because I could keep getting caught on those lights there. He can easily trap me. Yeah. basically, I'm losing this on my own just because I'm ending up touching him when I don't mean to touch him. He's not like even directly attacking me. Okay, so I got him that time. Yeah, I'm slowly figuring out. Seems like that was an entirely new mechanic, like a boss. Probably seems like a boss fight, the way that works. And there's like a interesting tug-of-war style of thing. Definitely tough and I don't know, interesting. I don't usually see that type of thing, that type of combat in video games. It's really interesting. You know, at the same time, it requires a sort of, I don't know. I'm not sure if that tug of war, the meter that we see on the top of the screen specifically. I mean, for all the game's minimalism up until now, that seems to be a that doesn't mean that the game won't use HUD elements here and there, or heads-up display elements like that symbol we see on top of our head, just to know that we can only take one more hit to die. And then a specific boss fight, there's that sort of a health meter of sorts, but a different kind of health meter gives it an interesting twist. Anyway, I'm not sure if that right now. I think my take on that is that I'm not sure how much I like those HUD elements in the game when right off the bat the project made in the game seem to be prizing the importance of its minimalism, of letting you figure things out on your own. And then now we're seeing more traditional HUD elements make their way into the game. So it's ending up not being as minimalist as thought before. Well, it's still fairly minimalist, but I think the presence of HUD elements at all is kind of counter to the tone that we were introduced in the beginning. But it's not necessarily terrible. It's in any case, it's really interesting how this is all working. The tug-of-war style of fight is refreshing twist. Like I personally have never seen that. I'm sure there. I can't really say myself if there are examples of that in games. Speaking of which, I'm not sure where I'm going here. Oh, I'm just going to go continue on that way. Anyway, I'm not sure if there are proper examples of that sort of. I'm not sure what. Why can't I go through here? Oh, it's a door. Okay, that's a door. Duh. So I'm not sure if there are proper examples of that style of tug-of-war interaction with an enemy, or in terms of a fight. I think there might have been, but I can't name them off the top of my head. But in any case, it is very rarely seen, that style of combat. Okay, save right there, right after the boss battle. It makes that encounter really interesting to see. And I presented an interesting challenge. I didn't die right away. I'm glad I was able to figure it out in my first try. It feels really satisfying. Overcoming that challenge, and the challenge lies in the fact that, well, the great difficulty there is if he touches you at all, that meter goes against you. So you gotta really, use your powers to the fullest extent to make sure you're able to take him down. And there's also the fact that, like, after a while, he stops falling for that hit, the fireball attack that you do. At first, you're able to turn him to stone and then give a good whack at him early on. But eventually, he catches on that tactic, and you have to switch it around to try and get behind him and then do the same thing. Well, I like that. Seems like the enemy there is able to learn a little bit of what you're doing, or there's like a phase 1 or phase 2. I mean, it's not too smart. I'm not saying oh my god, this super smart AI. But you know, in that circumstance, the way it's designed is like that is the way the flow of the combat is meant to work, and it ends up working out because you have to try and think on your feet and, you know, change your tactics as you go, as well as trying to figure out this whole tug-of-war mechanic that you probably have not seen before in a video game, pushing the health meter, or the enemy health meter, all the way to the edge while preserving your own. Yeah, really interesting. I thoroughly enjoyed that boss battle. All right, so wake up in, seems like our home. Okay, we can interact with stuff around here. Okay, so my room. What is this? Oh, I see. That's a light switch. Gotcha. Huh. Nice little touches here and there. Oh, okay. It's a bathroom. Yeah, this is really cute. I like that. I like all this stuff. Huh. Now I wonder. I like the interactability of this environment. I wonder how much of that is going to, you know, matter in the course of the game, or it's just meant to make things a little bit more interesting, a little bit make the world less flat, and you know, add as much as possible. Looks like I can't get in here. I don't know what this door is, but in any case, just can leave that room. Looks like we're one room in a bigger house. Anyway, like every step of the way, we're finding ourselves in a new environment, and then we're filling in the details as we're going on, as we're experiencing more. There isn't like a thing of text saying exactly where we are, oh, Imogen's home or whatever. We're gonna figure it out as we go along. So I wonder if can I go in here? No. Can go in here, and as we all know language. I see. So this, okay, looks like a school area. Interesting. Not much going on here other than that bit of dialogue I could experience if I so choose, and continue on. Yeah, most of the way the world building has been designed so far, the way the game has been presenting that world building is that, you know, presents you with a new environment, and as we go through it, we get to learn a little bit more about the overall world and the overall story. And you know, I think I've always made it clear whenever I've been playing more story-centric games that I like the way that works, the way it lets the language of the game, of the video game, the environments, the interactivity, tell us all we need to know about the world and the story, and that we're not it's not relying on, say, mush. It's not relying on, oh, it's a store, okay. It's not relying on methods outside of the medium, like using no mush, sell mush. If only we could get away into the forest mush. There's bound to be prime mush there, mush. Like, okay, examples are like of storytelling methods outside of the medium are, you know, regular, straightforward dialogue like we've been seeing here. We don't see too much of that in this game. I don't think can fairly say that the game is relying too much on dialogue as a means of storytelling. A lot of it is we are experiencing it from the world as we go on, and there's a lot of and even when there is dialogue, like we saw with Theo there, you know, we're still in full interactive control of the game, and game is giving us the option to experience as much of it as we would like. So, stuff like dialogue, written dialogue, essentially script, something typical of more of literature or like a film script or whatever, a TV script. We can experience that stuff in a way that's better suited for an interactive medium in an interactive video game. We're still retain full control of our character. We can move through the world, and as we saw with characters like Theo, as we're moving through the world, he's also talking. We can read that at the same time. And that said, in a specific example with Theo, there's a bit of a challenge in, we're busy doing stuff in the world, like platforming, so it's difficult to pay attention to that stuff and try and read his dialogue at the same time, so... Okay. Looks like this might be, hey, another new hopeful? Maybe a combat training scenario? Listen, Red, I don't train scions. But you don't really look the type. Alright, I'll give you a lesson, but only the basics. Go ahead and draw. Okay. First off, real sword fights are fought with feet. Lunging back and forth is essential. Okay. Think up thoughts to move lightly. Oh, I see. Think down thoughts to root yourself in place. Oh, I see. Got that? Huh. Okay, the most basic attack is thrust. Thrust is quick and powerful, but smart opponents can knock it away easily. Show me some thrusts. Nice try. Okay, so am I properly trying to... probably trying to take him down, or am I taking these guys down? Alright. So I wonder how many thrusts he wants to see. Anyway, that information like that, I think here we're seeing the advantages of a more proper sort of tutorial. Like, that information there I probably would not have been able to figure out on my own. Like the subtleties of the sword combat, like light stepping by pressing up like this allows us to do faster movements, while just hitting left and right we do more forceful movements, more deliberate movements, I suppose. And then holding down, we stand in place and just turn around that way. Okay, I was trying to figure out how to turn around. I guess standing in place allows us to pivot like that, switch direction. Alright, so I'm getting the hang of just the movement here, and then along with those particular, like, the style of movements, we get, like, I guess a quicker attack, a standard attack, and then a heavier attack. I think that's how it works anyway. No, actually, it seems like the attacks are about the same. Okay, so I wonder if that's the extent of his tutorial here, this sword trainer. If I'm not sure if there's any more dialogue here. Seems like that was... Anyway, in any case, that's valuable information. Like, now I can incorporate that into my combat going forward. The details of the light stepping and the rooting yourself as well. A lot of direction-based, you know, intricacies to the combat. Really interesting how that works out. I wonder if, you know, in the heat of the moment, if I will be able to keep track of that stuff, or if that'll matter a whole lot. I mean, assuming if I master the combat, or if I'm able to incorporate all that stuff, then I would be able to take on like 2 guys at the same time, like that battle we had before. I wouldn't have so much trouble. And I like the way the game, you know, lets you get your hands dirty in combat. Lets you be a lot more, I guess, a lot more unpracticed, just, you know, bashing your sword against enemies in a more unrefined manner early on, as we're just learning. And then later, once we get a quieter moment, that's when we learn more intricacies of the sword fighting. Yeah, so it's gives you a chance to learn on your own a little bit, and then it goes into a more formal training, a more formal tutorial style of learning there. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense to me, I think. Yeah, it's the best of both worlds, right? But, you know, it makes me realize that there is merits to both ways. You know, the school of hard knocks versus a more proper school. There are merits to both. You know, one is a more subtle way of learning, you know, getting your hands dirty. You're getting straight into the action without a whole lot of slow moments. And the other way is slower. You know, learning from a teacher, from that master, is slower. We have to, you know, rely on text and stuff. Learning that way. Well, wave hello to death for me. Okay. But we learn a lot more about the combat that way. So there's definitely a trade-off, and the game uses both methods as far as teaching us, tutorializing. The gods are gone, their children remain. Seek us out when you require rest. Okay. And then you can save right here. Huh. Alright, so I think what I want to do is, since this is my first foray into the game, I think this might be actually a perfect time to call it a day here. Again, it's my first taste of the game. I don't want to delve into it too hard. I just want to give a very light footsteps into this game's world. I don't want to take a bite bigger than I can chew, right? So I think for the next stream, I will delve headlong into the game much further. For now, I'll keep it light and easy, as well as using this first episode as a means of, you know, doing a lot of calibration with the stream, you know, checking the sound levels and whatnot, seeing how well the streaming portion of it worked out. Alright, so you can comment a lot about, one thing I can comment about is just this sort of home base, and I like games that have these sort of home bases. I wonder if we're gonna be, I mean, the dialogue that character said right here gives us a little bit of a hint in terms of I think what he's communicating to us is that this is probably a place that we're going to be returning to multiple times throughout the game, and I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I think that's what I'm reading into it. I mean, and if that's the case, this is like a home base that we will revisit. Also, like clues like the mushroom guy, he's presenting us with a problem that he has, and he has a store, but he can't. We're still growing, so I'm assuming that we're going to come back later on, and then he will have this mush to sell. So that's another clue that we'll be returning back to this area. So right, the home base. I like home bases because it gives you a sort of an anchor in the world, to a point of reference that you can always return to, see how that place changes. I mean, a lot of great games have a sort of a home base. In particular, recently there's the new Wolfenstein, The New Order, had this home base, multiple levels in the game where we return to that base and we do various activities. I mean, there were levels in their own right, individual, separate levels where we did specific goals in that home base. But it's nice, throughout the narrative we return back to that base and we see how that changes, what people are there, and what our actions have brought to that base. So just an anchor, a home that is both familiar and also changing with our actions. So I think that's why I like the home base sort of thing. Dishonored, the new Dishonored, or not new, but game that came out a few years ago, Dishonored. I forget. Anyway, I forget when it exactly came out, but Dishonored was another game in which there was a specific home base and levels where we kept returning to that same place and seeing how that changed. Worked very similar. I think this is what we were going to be experiencing with this area here. All right, so I think we'll call that a stream for now. So far, I'm enjoying it. Beyond the scary bit in the beginning where I got a little nervous, where I thought I'd just be bashing my head against that simple jumping puzzle early on. I think there's a lot I like about this game so far. There's a lot I like about the storytelling. There are a few things I don't quite buy into just yet. They're, the way the HUD elements. I mentioned that those weren't necessarily something that I really like, but I think those are necessary to tell us necessary information, so I don't think there's any other way around it. Especially with the way the graphical style of this game, I don't think there's any way to tell that sort of detail, that specific information using in-world information or diegetic information. Like, it needs a sort of HUD for that. But otherwise, I'm not sure if the HUD stuff fits in with the way the game has worked out for the rest of it. Being minimalist, being not telling us information outright, and then all of a sudden it's telling us information outright. I don't know. Maybe there's merit in using the best of both worlds for information, like I said, for the teaching stuff. I don't know. In any case, I'll have more thoughts later on about that stuff. Just, we're still in episode 1, the prologue, and in episode 1, so I think it was first part of the game, and I will my thoughts will evolve as the game moves on as well. So, but for now, I think it's a good place to end the stream. We're going to end it right here. I already saved the game. Just giving some of my final thoughts before I wrap up. All right, so if you liked what you're seeing here, you can watch it on YouTube and catch up to where I am right now. This is the first episode, so of course there is no previous episode, but you can of course watch all of my other Stream Theory playthroughs of games over on my YouTube channel. That's where they will be archived, youtube.com/YamsterSam. You can also follow me on Twitter at YamsterSam. And if you happen to be watching over on the YouTube, you can watch me live on Twitch, on twitch.tv/YamsterSam. So you can join me later on in my next stream. You can watch me live as I continue to play through Project Maiden here. So until then, I think I can sign off, and I will see you later.